for myself, just kind of preparing every single day to make sure your body's ready, your mind's ready, you're just ready to go and do the things you do well every single day to bring value to the team is probably the most important thing.
Welcome to episode 313 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland, and welcome to the start of the 2025 podcast season. We can't wait to bring you more amazing interviews in the weeks ahead with players, coaches, officials, and much more. We have a jam-packed schedule already lined up to start the season, including a trio of minor league guests who get it all started. But first, the news headlines. It's been a busy few weeks while we've been away with plenty of big storylines. It'd probably take me 20 minutes or so to get through it all, so let's get to some of the major topics. First off, congratulations to the latest inductees into the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner will join Classic Baseball Era Committee electees Dave Parker and Dick Allen as the class of 2025. The ceremony is set for July 27th. The Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, meantime, has announced that we will learn more about its class of 2025 on February 6th. Congratulations to Calgary's Michael Soroka on inking a one-year deal with Washington Nationals back in December. He had a rough start to 2024 with Chicago White Sox before turning it all around as a reliever. Soroka is hoping to get another shot at being a starter in DC. Here's hoping for some big things from the right-hander this season. Soroka was among the winners of Baseball Canada Awards earlier this month. He was named the Larry Pearson Alumni Award winner and was lauded for his determination and for being a source of inspiration for the next generation of aspiring Canadian ball players. Soroka was the only Albertan to take home hardware during this year's banquet. A couple of Albertans and friends of the show signing deals to go pro in recent weeks. Former Edmonton Collegiate Hawks, Edmonton Riverhawks, and Fort McMurray Giants ace Halen Noel is heading to the Trois-Rivières Aigles of the Frontier League. It's the same team that recruited Dawgs Academy and Okotoks dog slugger Tucker Zdunek earlier in the offseason. Speaking of the Dogs, congratulations to grad Jordan Procession on being named the bench coach for the Amarillo Sod Poodles, the Double-A affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He spent last season as the bullpen catcher and coach in the Los Angeles Dodgers system after a successful 9-year playing career. And some sad news to pass your way as Phyllis Panabaker has passed away. She served as executive director of Baseball Alberta from 1987 to 1994 and president from 2001 to 2002. She's remembered for her role with the Edmonton International Baseball Foundation and for the growth of the game while she held leadership positions. Our hearts go out to all who knew and loved Phyllis. Now, there has been a lot, as mentioned, including other signings and commitments since we started our break in mid-December. We won't go through all the news, but we'll keep you updated on a few of the other storylines in the episodes ahead. On the ADS front, in case you missed it, we launched a new newsletter with the first edition set for next week. You can subscribe by entering your email address into the pop-up you see at albertadugoutstories.com. We've also launched an account on buymeacoffee.com. We have a trio of supporters there already, people who want to donate to help us with a few extra costs for our growth. A big thanks to Kevin Glue, Jeff Peach, and Dean Fraser for their amazing support. If you like what we do, head to buymeacoffee.com/dugoutstories to help us in our quest to provide high-quality baseball journalism. We turn our attention now to the pro ranks and our guests this week, featuring a trio of young men looking to move up the ladder in their respective organizations. We'll start with Dawgs Academy and Okotoks Dawgs alum Matt Lloyd. He's had a wild couple of years, including being released by the Cincinnati Reds, going to indie ball, suiting up for Baseball Canada, going to Mexico, and almost quitting baseball in the middle of all that. Then he got an offer from the St. Louis Cardinals and spent last year with their Double-A affiliate in Springfield. He hit .269 with 17 home runs and 77 RBI in 120 games. Lloyd is hoping it was enough to earn a promotion to Triple-A in 2025 and maybe even more. Matt, thanks so much for joining us back here on the show.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Now, as I was saying off air, it was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago when we last chatted. You were just coming off playing indie ball. You just won the Baseball Canada Men's Player of the Year as well when we chatted via Insta. Could you have ever imagined the whirlwind that would have transpired over the next couple of years?
No, definitely not. Getting released with the Reds, that's something that, when you get drafted, you never really think about at all. And then being lucky enough to land in Sioux City with a great manager, Steve Montgomery. And then the next thing you know, I'm going to Argentina with Team Canada. End up playing pretty well, get named MVP, and then off to Mexico. And now last year is at the Cardinals and signed another 1-year deal with them. So, I mean, it's been a crazy couple of years, and a lot of it has, come with the unknowing of what's next. You know what I mean? So it's been really cool, and I'm just excited to keep playing.
Was there a moment for you where it kind of switched for you? Because the story about you almost quitting the game is fairly well known now, but was there that moment where it kind of went from, okay, let's just put the business in the back of my mind and let's go back to maybe having some fun with this game that I've loved for so long?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I took away mostly from Sioux City was, just trying to have a good time and, enjoy the teammates and being able to play every day, and literally just going into that season thinking, like, I'm going to just try to have as much fun as I can and try to keep that same type of mindset going into, with the Cardinals in Springfield. And I think that really took care of a lot of stuff that happened on the field because, I'm happy to be there and just enjoying all my time there. And I found that, the game kind of took care of itself at that point.
Whether it was playing for Sioux City or maybe it was playing for Baseball Canada or maybe it was going overseas or going international, was there anybody that you kind of leaned on through that entire process to make sure that you were kind of keeping that end goal in mind of, hey, I got to catch the eye of somebody in the MLB ranks?
Yeah, I think my manager with Sioux City was really good about that. A couple chats here and there, just talking about, because there was a point where that I was, like, you could tell that I was trying really hard. The team might be struggling, and that's something else that, I've struggled with throughout the career is, when the team's struggling, like, that doesn't mean I have to do more. You know what I mean? Just playing my game, being myself. Yeah, Steve Montgomery was huge for me, and he set me up to go to Mexico, and then he had the connection with the Cardinals as well, so he was talking to them for me, like almost like an agent. So yeah, I would say he was a big piece, and moving on to back to affiliate ball.
What was that international experience like for you?
It was a lot of fun. It was cool to see a different culture of baseball in a way, and see other fans are really passionate about the game and they want you to win. And it was just cool, and being around just a different lifestyle in a way, and kind of forced me to learn a little bit of Spanish, which is cool too. And it was just a really fun experience down there.
Very cool. Was there a moment when you got that phone call from St. Louis and all the paperwork was signed, was there a bit of a sigh of relief in your eyes? Like, okay, all this work, all this preparation, all this trying to come back has finally come to fruition and I can finally maybe breathe again?
Yeah, 100%. I was down in Mexico, and then there's some summer Mexican teams that wanted to sign me for the summer, and Steve Montgomery was talking to me and he was telling me just to wait, like the Cardinals might be interested. So there was a point where I thought that maybe I'll be in Mexico for the summer, and it was just that unsureness with what the next year is going to bring. And then I think it was around December, like the end of December, where the Cardinals came in and made an offer, and I was just really excited. But I also understood that the job's not finished. Like, nothing really changes for me. It's just keep working, keep playing, and hopefully end up in the big league someday.
So fast forward 2024 now, and it was quite the year for you. Numerically, the numbers kind of speak for themselves, obviously, but in your eyes, how happy were you with your performance?
Pretty happy, honestly. I thought that, I showed who I am at the plate for sure. I thought that, maybe the defense was a little bit not up to my full potential. So that's been a priority for me this off season. And overall, it was a really, really good season. The only thing I wish was that we could have brought home a championship. Just got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. But other than that, there's nothing that I would have changed or nothing that I would have done different.
On the personal side of things, any highlights, any moments where you kind of had to take that step back and go, okay, I'm back. Let's do this.
Nothing really sticks out. Just understanding how long the season is, and I think I've grown mentally in that sense, like understanding that the season's so long, and there's a point where I started to realize like every single at bat matters, but in the same way, then none of them matter. If that makes sense. Like, just being able to handle the failure, handle the success, and just try to be the same guy every day. I think that was a big personal growth for me throughout definitely the last 2 years.
August 10th, you get to catch your mom's ceremonial first pitch in Springfield. How cool of a moment was that for you?
I mean, that was a dream, honestly. It was really cool, and stars kind of aligned for that. Like, just my parents were in town and floated the idea to the front office, and they loved it. And I think they do that with a lot of the parents that come in. They'll have one of them throw out a first pitch, but yeah, it was really awesome.
I suppose it's something that you don't necessarily get to do on the regular, is get to play in front of your folks. So that had to add an extra element and an extra push for you.
Yeah, it definitely did. It was really cool for them to come down and get a chance to see me play and stuff, and just to be around them. You know, the season's, like I said, the season's so long that, you know, any familiar face is it's really good.
Also, you managed to immerse yourself a little bit in the Springfield world, and one of those was this little video of you testing out some spicy Mexican snacks. How spicy were they?
Yeah. Honestly, they weren't too bad. I think they were kind of going easy on me a little bit, but yeah, we had a Mexican guy on our team, and so we had Canadian snacks and Mexican snacks. We kind of swapped. So I had him trying like Swedish berries, I think coffee crisp, all dressed chips or ketchup chips, just a bunch of stuff. It was really, really fun to do that video.
Did you have a favorite, like when mom and dad were down for that trip? Did you have them bring anything home, like a care package or anything?
I don't think they brought anything like specific like that.
Oh, okay.
But when I was in college, they would send care packages all the time. Like I love crispy minis, like those little rice cake things.
Yeah.
I think that's Canadian only too. So.
Very cool. So you mentioned it, you're working on your defense a little bit during the off season here, but anything else in particular that you feel you need to be working on to make sure that you're moving up that chain in St. Louis?
I think it's just a consistency thing as well. I feel like when I was in Springfield, I found my routine, my pregame routine, and stuck with it, and that's almost just the first time that I've been convicted in, a pregame routine, at least hitting wise. So I think doing that, carrying it forward in my career is going to be big for me. Yeah. And then a lot of speed stuff at the gym. I think that's another factor too, is just get a little bit faster, a little bit more mobile. And other than that, just keep being consistent, showing up every day.
You came back home for a little bit as well, got to do some working out at Dawgs. What kinds of advice you giving to those young kids that you're getting to interact with when you're down here?
I think it's different for each guy. Like, if I see something in their swing, I'll just give them a little more of a cue than changing any mechanics. It's little things like that. And then I kind of let them ask me anything. If something's on their mind, like, they'll come up to me and ask me certain questions and stuff, but it's more, cues and just talking about that this game is really, really hard and trying to just convey that message that, like, you're going to fail and stuff, and encouraging them and that, like, it's going to be hard and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. On that note, you've gone through plenty of ups, plenty of downs over the course of the last few years here. Have you learned anything about yourself or about your game through going through all the trials and tribulations?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've learned that, I think I've said this before, but like, the game can be taken away from you so easy, so quickly. And just to have a good attitude every day, I think is huge. Trying to be the same guy every day. Be a joy to be around in the locker room and stuff. I've also found that when I just try to play the game in order to win the game, I feel like I have a lot more success too. Instead of, like, I'm not playing for myself, I'm playing for the team, like whatever the team needs me to do.
Mm-hmm.
I find that the success will come by doing that. If that makes sense.
And obviously, the fun aspect of things is when you're winning or when you're having success, it's a lot more fun to have. But when you talk about being that joy in the room or that kind of stuff, is there anything that you kind of make a point of doing to make sure that you are being that jovial character in the room?
I think, just trying to make people laugh. I think that's my number one thing. Like you said, like, when you're smiling and laughing, like, you're having fun, likely it's going to somehow snowball into, some wins. And, just try to be a good teammate.
Are you a situational jokester, or are you a guy who runs out the old man, dad jokes all the time?
I would say situational. My dad loves the corny dad jokes, so try to take a different approach here.
That is fair. Matt, really appreciate the time. I got one more question for you, and it's got to do with this coming year. Do you have any expectations of yourself going in? Can you smell MLB right now, or what are you envisioning, and what would you like to get accomplished over the next couple of years here?
Yeah, I think it's in the realm of possibilities. Just as long as I can stay on the field and just play my game, I think there's no reason why I couldn't be up there. And as far as expectations go, it's similar. I just want to win games and help the team win. I'm not too worried about hitting a certain average or a certain amount of homers. So I like to think of it more as I want to help the team win, and when we're winning, then guys are going up. That's the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just stay who I am, essentially.
Well, it's a great outlook as you head into the 2025 season and beyond. Matt, really appreciate the catch-up as always. Congrats on the success of this last year. Continued success in 2025 in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you very much. It was awesome.
Next up is Vauxhall Academy grad Adam Macko, who is one of the top-ranked prospects in the Toronto Blue Jays system. He had a pretty good 2024, going 5-5 with a 4.98 ERA and 16 starts for the Double-A New Hampshire Fisher Cats, striking out 90 in 81-plus innings. He also had to deal with an injury, which led to him going back down to Dunedin for a while, and then he earned a start in Triple-A Buffalo to end the campaign. He would love to stay there in 2025 and maybe move up to the big club after a productive offseason both on the field and in his personal life. Adam, thanks so much for joining us here on the show again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
First off, some big news on the personal front. You popped the big question about a month ago now. Was there an elaborate plan to do it, or how did this all go down?
I've been with my girlfriend for a fiance now for a long time, and it's always been on our mind, but I really wanted to do it when, like, we actually had our own place. We're kind of separate. We're moved out and done all that. So we had a basement suite at her parents' house in the basement, so we're kind of separate there. But to be fully separate, I was like, once that happens, then I'm ready. And it kind of happened unexpectedly this year. We weren't really planning on it, so I did kind of scramble once we got in there. But it was a lot of fun planning it and trying to get all of the stuff organized. So getting it all in was a little bit stressful, but it was all great, and the plan worked out good. Thankfully, everything went smoothly, which was not something that I expected. That doesn't usually happen for me, but it worked out good, and things were great. It was an interesting day. We had a power outage. There was big winds and all that, and my the spot where I was doing it was in kind of the park, so she was like very hesitant to get in there. She's like, "Oh my God, like the tree branch is gonna fall. Like I'm not going in there." I was like, "Oh, you're getting in this forest today. You're getting it in the park." So, bit of convincing, but yeah, we're all excited now.
Were there happy tears afterwards, or what? Like you said, it was kind of half expected, so there wasn't really a lot of surprise kind of thing.
Yeah, she was on to me for a while. I think I was being a little bit suspicious when I was trying to do this whole big Seattle trip and plan it. And I could tell that she was kind of on to me, and she was talking to her mom about it too, which I got relayed to me later. So I was like, I can't do like this big thing. I have to do something kind of local on the down low. And then a week later, she dropped it because she was asking about that to her sister, and her sister didn't know anything because I didn't ask her anything, and so that kind of convinced her, like, oh, okay, like he would probably ask my sister about the ring.
Mhm.
So if he didn't ask her, then that's probably not happening. But that's how I kind of got her off my back for a little bit, and it was ended up being a surprise, which is nice.
That's awesome. So is the wedding planning already underway, or are you two giving it a little bit of time before you dive head first?
We're just trying to decide right now where to do it, kind of when to do it. We're not going to be in a rush or anything. I don't think we're going to be getting married next year, but it's just a slow progress. I mean, we're both really excited, but she's very much a planner, so she is definitely planning some stuff, but it's no pressure, just kind of stuff that we kind of want to get an idea of, at least where, what kind of venue, that type of stuff. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Are you one of those guys who's like all in on it and want to be involved? Or are you kind of like, no, honey, you take the reins. I know this is more your jam.
I mean, if she really wants to, I'll be more than happy to give her all the planning. But I think she does want me to be involved a little bit, which I'm more than happy to do. So just some of the decisions, that she just gives me this or this, and I just point and pick if she wants me to. I'm happy to do that.
Absolutely. Happy wife, happy life is the way they put it. How big has she been, especially living the baseball life, whether it's being on the bus or having that support system? I know you had an up and down year, which we'll get to in a second, but how big has she been as you've gone through those ups and downs in minor league ball?
Yeah, I mean, I can't stress that enough. She's been everything for me. She's been my rock. I mean, as much as I try to be hers as well, when the season time is around, it is kind of riding the waves of the ups and downs, and obviously not trying to, but she's been that rock for me, and that person that I can go to. And I've had ups and downs in Vancouver. That was like my first really biggest test of like seeing failure, I think. And she helped me get through that, no problem. And the trust that she had in me the following year, even after the prospects game, I didn't even get through an inning. But she was like, like, I'm not worried about you at all this year. And I was like, oh my God, like that takes a lot of pressure off me, I guess, because part of me is always trying to kind of show her and prove to her, like, hey, like this is still going somewhere. We're still doing this thing, and in Vancouver when that was going on, it was hard to do that, and I didn't even need to. She was fully there, supporting me, trusting me in the whole process, and um, yeah, I can't be grateful enough for her for all the stuff that she's been through with me and that she continues to do for me, and hopefully I do the same for her.
Like I said, congratulations, and looking forward to seeing the photos in the aftermath afterwards as well. Let's get into the baseball side here, and obviously 2024, a bit of a roller coaster in and of itself. So looking ahead a little bit first, how excited are you to get going with a few camps coming up before spring training coming up in just a few weeks?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about that. I've been trying to, get out there and show what I can do for a while now. When you're at the end of the season, you're excited. You're like, oh, like I have an off season now. I get to relax and all these things. And then a month later, you're like, oh my God, I want to get back out there. So I've been trying to speed time along as it goes, but it's finally coming up pretty soon here, and I'm very excited. I've been training really hard, very specific stuff that I need to do, and the more specific you get, the better. So like I really had a really good plan this off season. I'm very very excited. Doesn't mean and I've learned that going into Vancouver, like just because you have a really good off season and things go the way you want, doesn't automatically give you a free pass to have a great season. But I just got to take what I've been doing and kind of apply that into spring training and keep going. And I'm super excited for this year. I think a lot of good things are to come.
I was going to ask about the off season. I mean, some guys like to take a bit of a break. Some guys like to go really work intensive. What kind of off season did you have? And you mentioned some of the details and what the being more detail oriented. Walk us through some of the things particularly that you're working on.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned to be more observant of my arm and what I respond to well. And these past couple of off seasons, I didn't really take that much time off throwing. I've taken it super light for a while, but I didn't take complete time off. And I think from what I've learned this year, um, doing the no rest for the last well, a little bit of rest, but basically no rest for the last three off seasons. Um, I think the better option is to just take a little bit and especially after like a longer season that I haven't had before. Um, just get those ligaments, get the everything just rest and kind of reset. And then I did that for the first time, and ramping up from that has been really good. I've been feeling great. So the worry that I've always had is if I stop throwing, I lose my throwing fitness and it all goes down. But if you continue to keep yourself, you know, your body occupied with you go into the gym even on like off days from throwing, you kind of move your arm around, you do some things. It tends to remember. So, little month off here this off season, which was really nice, and building up slowly and smartly, and um, another important thing that I've been doing is really focusing on my off-speed location. So being really specific in every throwing program, being able to be mindful enough to every single throw, have a plan, have a kind of a goal for what I'm trying to do, and evaluate, recalculate, and go again, and repeat, rinse and repeat. So it's been really good. There's been some off speed goals that I've had that I've been working on, like my changeup location. Um, my personal goal is a little bit of getting my velo back up to where it has been before, like at the end of Vancouver. So there's been a couple of things, but yeah, it feels good now.
Good to hear. Now, last year was kind of an interesting one for you, and we'll start with those first few months. How happy were you with your performance in New Hampshire?
Um, I was pleased. I think there was obviously a lot of things that I could have done better. Um, but I think it went really well considering my first year in Double-A. I've learned a lot of stuff, learned to rely on my off speed better. I've learned to trust it a lot more. And yeah, I mean, obviously there's some ups and downs in any season, and one good start, one bad start does not define your season. So I try to keep that in mind and just keep going. And even though I was injured there for a little bit, I still had the most amount of innings that I've had in minor league so far, and I've racked them up pretty quickly through the first half. So um, that tweak was unfortunate, but I was feeling really good about where I was with the amount of innings racked up, and yeah, just getting more specific on my forearm work, on my elbow work to eliminate those weak points, and hopefully a strong feeling that it worked. But you never know in baseball. There's no guarantees, but hopefully it's all good, and I'm sure that it will be.
You mentioned the injury. That's kind of the second of three parts to the season that you had for yourself. It ended up being about a month off, a little bit more than a month. How challenging was that for you? Because I'm sure you're probably sitting there itching to get back, but you've got to go through this process of making sure that you are free and clear and ready to throw again.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things because the I took a little bit of time off. I took maybe a week off of throwing, and I started building up, and I felt good right away after that. But it's just been a process of being smart about it and getting my one inning, then my two innings, and slowly, racking that up and getting all my outings in and the bullpens before the outing. So it felt like obviously it was necessary because you need to build up slowly, but it felt like I could have just gone back after a week. But that was the most frustrating part, is like I just have to trust the process and be patient and let myself build up properly so that I have the best chance at staying healthy and best chance at success once I get out. So um, my my physical therapist did a great job. The people that worked with me did a great job, and I'm really happy with the way it went. But as a competitor, you always want to be out on the field, so that was definitely really hard to feel good after a week, and you kind of being still slowly getting into it. So it was definitely difficult, but it's easy to trust in the people that I work with, and as long as I had that, I was all good.
Suppose it's a bit of a lesson, not just for yourself, but maybe others as well, is there has to be a bit of long game thinking involved when you get an injury like that, whether it's guys going through Tommy John or guys who are, having something like a forearm strain, right? It's like take take the necessary time so you can have a longer career and not face recurring injuries kind of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You hit it right on the head with that. It's the most crucial part, obviously, of any rehab, is like when you're coming back and you're throwing and you're making sure that even though you're excited because you're feeling good, you gotta have that mental break on, at least for the time being. And that was always a hard thing for me. Like even when I wouldn't be injured and I'd be just playing catch, it'd be hard for me by the end of catch play to not be ripping it as hard as I can when I was a kid. And that kind of stayed with me for a little bit of pro ball, I think. But part of it's helped me, but part of it's also hurt me. I've dealt with a lot of injuries, so like learning for me to constrain my throwing to allowing it to be what it's supposed to be has been a journey. But you live and you learn, and yeah, that's definitely something that I needed to develop, is that feel for just all right, like it's a light day today, you can relax, you can just make your 30 go home. But yeah.
Absolutely. So post injury, you made some starts in Dunedin, then you got up to New Hampshire, and then you got the call up to Triple-A. How did you feel about your performance as a whole, or how your arm felt coming off that injury?
My arm felt pretty good. I was When I was pitching in Dunedin, it was better and better as this starts went on. I was Because I took a little bit of time off. It was weird. It kind of threw me off the kind of mechanical rhythm that I had, and it didn't feel as natural, even though it's only really. I mean, it's been more than a week of like not throwing off the mound, but just a week of no throw has really, like, if I take a day in a season, like I'd throw 6 days a week. I'd take one day on Monday, and when I come back on Tuesday, I'm like, oh my, like what happened in my body? Like I gotta relearn how to throw. So it is weird that way, but felt good. And just trying to build up to that intensity as I was rehabbing. That was difficult, but I've been in Dunedin, getting hyped up for a game that doesn't have that many fans and that is like pretty quiet is also difficult. So going from Dunedin to New Hampshire, that was a big step, and really a lot. Like in Dunedin, it felt like I kind of just could have just gone out there and closed my eyes and things might have gone good.
Mhm.
But then New Hampshire was definitely like, okay, like I remember this, and you got to be a little bit more, you got to be a little bit more fine. But I think just getting my rhythm back from like getting um, put on the shelf for a month, it was. I think I just needed maybe a couple more starts at a higher level to kind of get myself back comfortable. I felt it coming on, but there was still definitely hiccups throughout my outings. Because
Mhm.
I mean, in New Hampshire, I had one bad inning where things kind of went sideways, where I kind of fell out of rhythm. Everything else was really good. I had two innings in Buffalo out of the four that I was like, I probably could have gone a little differently, but that's baseball, and I was just happy to get out there and spend the week with the guys and get kind of used to the area before I got out there this year. So it ended up being a really good end of the season for me.
And a bit of a reunion too, because you got to spend some time with with an old friend, Damiano. What's it like being able to go along the journey with him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was great. I mean, always he when I was in when I was with the Mariners, I thought I would play him with the Canadians. When he was with the Canadians and I was with Everett, but I got injured before we got to play each other. And then obviously we got traded. I got traded to the Jays, so we're spring training together. But then he went to New Hampshire. I went to Vancouver, and we weren't together yet. And this was the first time since high school that we've actually been on the same team together. So that was a
Mm.
lot of fun. It's always a pleasure watching him play. He's an amazing player. He plays hard. He's got that he looks like a ball player type look, and he's just an animal. He gets after it every single day. He works really hard. So to be able to be on the bench and watch him go after his stuff and do his business is something that I'm grateful for. Yeah.
For sure. Heading into this year, what's your mindset? Like, do you have any expectations of yourself going in? Do you have your eye towards MLB, or is it like start me wherever and we'll figure it out on the fly?
You know that that part of baseball I try to keep on the back of my mind is like Triple-A, big league spring training, all that stuff is really cool. Doesn't help me when I think about it a whole bunch, as I've learned in the past. But I mean, obviously, at some point this year, I would love to touch the big leagues. I mean, we'll see in spring training how ready I am, but I believe I'm ready to compete at the highest level, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm grateful that there's even a talk about this. That there's a chance that this could finally happen. This has been a childhood dream, obviously, of many kids for a long time, and definitely me as well. So, um, obviously, dream come true if it happens this year. That is my plan, but it's not. I would say it's an expectation. It's I don't know if this is the same meaning of the word, but it feels more like an aspiration for me, where I'm just kind of like, this would be, this is awesome and this would be great, but I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket mentally, because that can very much go the other way. So I mean, my mindset is always the same. I want to go out there and dominate every start that I do, and if there's a spot for me, there's a spot for me. And honestly, I've heard that in Triple-A it kind of works like, it's kind of like a waiting room. You just got to wait for the right opportunity, wait for your spot. And if you're killing it and it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that you're not ready to be in the big leagues. It's just not happening right now because there's no spots. But um, yeah, I mean, you just got to be ready when that time comes. And it's a lot of it is like right time, right place. But you just got to make that right time, right place happen as often as possible.
For sure.
Yeah.
In your mind, what do you need to work on to make sure that you're the first one they're calling when they need another arm up in Toronto?
I think for me, it's just, especially here in Triple-A, is being aggressive in the zone. I heard and I felt it a little bit in my start that the zone is a little bit smaller, like the top of the zone where I want to live has been cut off a little bit. So adjusting to that a little bit, I definitely noticed the hitters being more patient in Triple-A than they were in Double-A, whether that's because of the smaller zone or they're just better hitters or just both, probably a little bit of both. And yeah, for me, it's just really filling up the zone, as simple as that sounds, like being able to command my off speeds to keep hitters off balance, to keep them guessing. But basically, if my off speed is in the zone and I have that command of at least 2 off speed pitches with my fastball, that I think is going, and I can do that consistently, that I think is going to get me out of days where I may not feel that great, which is awesome. You keep the consistency going, and that's basically what it's about. That's what they're looking for before you get called up.
Absolutely. Final question for you. I know I've asked the question about what does baseball mean to you, so I won't ask that one, but I will ask. It's the you can almost smell it, right? The majors is right there. It's there for your taking. What would it mean to you though to get that phone call into the manager's office in Buffalo and get told you're going to the show?
Um, you know, I as the spring training is getting closer, I've been visualizing and like going over that moment more than usual. And it'd be like impossible to put into words. Like I'm like anytime I would like seriously think about it and like try to get myself in that moment, like I'm almost starting to tear up like as I think about it. So there's been so much sacrifice that happened from not even from my standpoint, but like from my fiance, and my parents, my coaches, obviously a lot of people around me that had to have allowed me to do what I'm doing, and to like for example, my parents like moving to Canada. Like I don't think I know I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for that, and like we talked about earlier, my fiance support. I probably definitely wouldn't be in a spot that I'm in now if it wasn't for that, and her willingness to kind of put up with me being gone for 9 months of the year and just get nice 3 months together, and then I have to go again. And she's a real trooper for that, and honestly, just the people that I have around me, I'm super grateful for. So it would make me it would just make me super happy and grateful that I was able to share that moment with all the people that helped me get there. And I mean, yeah, as to any other baseball player, I'm sure it really means the world, but it's hard to put into words, I guess. But
Here's hoping that call does happen sometime in 2025 here, Adam. Congrats on the engagement. Congratulations on all the success last year, continued success in 2025. Always a pleasure getting a chance to catch up with you and talk about your incredible journey. Thank you again so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's been a blast.
Finally, we get a chance to catch up with St. FX Academy alum Matt Coutney. The Wetaskiwin native started the season with the Los Angeles Angels High A affiliate, the Tri-City Dust Devils, hitting .270 with 8 homers and 42 RBI, and was also among the league leaders in doubles with 22. That earned him a promotion to Double-A Rocket City Trash Pandas. Love that name. He posted a line of 194 with a homer and 8 RBI in 28 games. He admits it was an adjustment heading to a higher level, but feels like he's ready to grow into a bigger role this summer. Matt, thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Looking back on the year, kind of the tale of 2 seasons. We'll start in Tri-City. You were among the league leaders in doubles, seemed to be going in a good groove. How did you feel about that part of the season?
It was good. I mean, looking back on it, I was very fortunate the year before to get, about a half a year of time and at that level. So kind of going back to that off season of preparing for that level, kind of knowing I was probably going to start there again in the 2024 season, was kind of nice to have, knowing what to expect, being familiar with the league and the different areas that you're going to travel to and play at. But yeah, I felt like I did a really good job there. I felt like that I, took care of business, did what I needed to do, and was really thankful for spending my time there, and got to experience a lot of different things, in my time in Tri-Cities.
What was working for you at the plate that made you feel that much more comfortable heading into, I'll call it year 2 of High A, but kind of that second half of the second season in High A?
I'd say definitely each year that I've played in my career dating back to college, you start to learn more about yourself. You start to learn more about your body, your swing, what works for you, what doesn't. And one thing that will trump a lot of things is experience in this game. People do not realize how important that is. You can go up there and have, really good mechanics or be super strong or be super fast, but if you don't have any experience or have the approach or the mentality of being able to grind through, 120, 130 game season, the wheels are going to fall off the bus pretty soon. And kind of having that experience, and the best way to describe it is the awareness of your day-to-day preparation was probably a lot of the reason why the success at that level kind of happened this year.
Mm-hmm. Then it's off to Double-A and Rocket City. And before we get to the on-field stuff, I personally love the Trash Pandas name and the brand and the logo. As somebody who walks in fresh, how big of a fan were you looking at some of the swag that you're getting to rock on a day-to-day basis?
Pretty cool. I could be wrong here, but I think the Trash Pandas have the number 1 and the number 2 selling hat in all of minor league baseball. But it's awesome. Brand new facility, brand new stadium, awesome community. They do a really good job there. The day-to-day staff, the everyday staff there do a fantastic job. It's very professional, very high end. It's very show. That's probably the biggest difference you kind of see from each level you jump is your quality of life and the little things kind of go with it. You get to Double-A, and not saying there's nothing wrong with other levels, but the facility's nicer, the food's a lot better. You're staying in nicer places, you're traveling to cooler places and stuff like that. So from a quality of life and like a day-to-day standpoint, every level you move up, and for me this past year from high to Double-A, I really got to experience that kind of one, as people would say, that show experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure in the big leagues it gets even better, but just kind of your day-to-day stuff kind of gets taken care of for you.
You've had some pretty cool brands you've gotten to play a part of in the pro rank so far. You had the 66ers to start, then you go over to Tri-City, and they're the Dust Devils, and now you got the Trash Pandas. Do you have a favorite one or a favorite hat that you've been able to wear so far?
I'm gonna go with I was hoping you asked that question, because in Tri-Cities they don't do too much. In low A and in Double-A they had a bunch of different hats and different themes and nights like that. But in high A they have these two jerseys or hats or whatever you want to call them,
Mm-hmm.
that you kind of roll out 7-8 times a year. And the one with the rooster tails, super
Yeah.
cool. Kind of like a light blue red, super cool hat. Loved it. Awesome jerseys. They're so much fun wearing those. And then kind of like a little spin-off here. It was like our Latin night or whatever they would do, once or twice a month or whatever. For the area in Tri-Cities, they have a lot of like wine. It's kind of like wine country for out there in Washington State.
Right.
And they were called the Viñeros, I believe. And it was Latin for like wine pickers or something like that, or wine collectors or something. And I've never worn a jersey with purple. I've never worn a jersey with lime green, let alone both of those combined. Very interesting color combination, but it was awesome. Every time we played with in those uniforms, guys kind of have a little fun with it, and they wear lime green high socks or lime green arm sleeves and stuff like that. So I'll probably have to go those two places in Tri-Cities for an alternate jersey. Were probably my favorite in my career so far.
That's wicked. Are you a memorabilia guy? Like, do you collect some of that stuff to maybe put in a case somewhere down the line to show off?
I wouldn't say like a memorabilia guy, but over the years, I have collected so many hats from all these different like themed nights that we played on. So I probably have, I don't know how many minor league hats with me right now, but I've unconditionally like collected hats just because of playing.
Absolutely. That's cool. Very cool. Let's head over to the on-field stuff. A bit of a different story numbers-wise, as we kind of talked about off air. Walk us through what you were seeing as you're walking up the ladder and how much of an adjustment it was going from high A to Double-A.
They definitely do say, or they tell us that the biggest jump is from high to Double-A. And for, it just is what it is. There's a lot of guys in Double-A who go straight to the big leagues, or older guys there. On our team, we had dudes that range from, I believe, 18, 19 years old all the way to, 31, 32 years old. So you do get a big age gap there. Tends to be a lot of older guys, a lot of guys that, there'll be guys who have Triple-A time, some guys who have big league time playing in Double-A. And you definitely do see that. The stuff is there on the mound, the command. One thing that a lot of people don't realize, every level you move up, defenders get way better. Hitting is as hard as it is already, and making that jump, dealing with those different arms and different pitchers is already challenging to begin with, and let alone these defenders, in the infield and the outfield do make a big difference. And that's just, part of the game. If you want to play at the highest level, you kind of have to compete at that level and just find a way to get the job done.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier about learning more about yourself as the years go on. Was there something about this season that made you go, aha, when it comes to your own game?
Yeah, I definitely say each year goes on, not only professionally, but dating back to all the way from college and high school, you start to realize the stuff you're good at, maybe some stuff you're not so good at, and start to really focus on how you could bring value at the end of the day, whether it's you're playing in low A, high A, Double-A, or the big leagues. If you can bring value to the table, you'll have a job. And whatever your skill set is, you need to be able to hone in on that. And for myself, just kind of preparing every single day to make sure your body's ready, your mind's ready, you're just ready to go and do the things you do well every single day to bring value to the team is probably the most important thing.
So looking at that value proposition heading into 2025, what have you been working on during the off season to make sure that you're hitting the ground running going into spring training?
I definitely do. I definitely did change some things up this offseason a little bit from how I'm preparing. I've kind of cut down a little bit on my swings and stuff like that. I remember last offseason I kind of got a little obsessive and was hitting a lot, and you do feel that wear and tear as the year goes on. So I've kind of learned to dial it back and be a little bit more focused on that end of the spectrum, at least on the hitting side. Defensively, I've probably done a lot more this offseason, being able to hopefully add some versatility by playing, third and first base would be important, just so then you can get on the field more often, as often as you can, essentially. But from a physical standpoint, from a body standpoint, I'm probably in the best shape of my life right now. Not sure if but a former, baseball bird, a guy who kind of came up through the ranks, Ben Predigers, helping out with my off-season training. He just finished up his college career, and kind of is transitioning more into the strength and conditioning standpoint. He does a fantastic job. I've kind of connected with him, and we've been working together, and I've been super pleased with where we've come today, at least on my body.
Very cool. And I know Ben played a little bit of a role with Sylvan Lake Gulls, for example, which segues into the question about Jason Chatwood. I know that you came back during the last couple of winters and worked out at St. Joe's and Red Deer, providing a little bit of coaching, but also doing the workout stuff. What's it been like being able to give back to the community that way and talk to the youngsters while also getting the work in?
It's awesome. It's always different. Every year you come back, I get older. So I feel like I've seen a lot of things, and the game between, the professional ranks and the college ranks and the high school ranks is a little different. So, every year I kind of come back, I always just try to, take a step back and just watch these guys and see how they take care of their business and their day-to-day routines. And hopefully, kind of the idea is being around to I don't want to say mentor these guys, but like give some insight on, different stuff to try out or try new things in their routine, just to give these guys the foundation moving forward, whether it's, the off season or playing in the summer, or some kids get the opportunity to go and play college baseball, and hopefully being able there to answer some questions that they have is always awesome to do.
I know that you're not that far removed from being one of those young guys, but have you noticed a bit of a change in the way that the game is prepped here in Alberta as far as the young guys getting to move up and move on to bigger and better?
100%. I remember back in the day growing up, when I was in high school, there weren't as many guys getting the opportunity to go play in the States. There were guys who got the opportunity to go play, junior college or go play NCAA or whatever. And I feel like now, just the way society is that there's a lot of these kids are getting these opportunities now. And that's awesome for the game. And that's awesome for, the province of Alberta. It's always nice to see, kids move on and, get to experience things that you got to experience. They get to, build relationships and friendships and all these memories. And that's definitely something that's extremely positive for the sport and for the sport of baseball within Alberta, I'd say.
When it comes to those kids coming to you and probably wanting an autograph first, but second is they're looking for some advice because they want to get to where you're at now. Do you have that go-to piece of advice leaning on some of that 2020 hindsight over the last couple of years here?
I definitely say you just got to do what you do well. Kind of going full circle here of being able to have a job and move forward and create value. That's the number one thing, is creating value. Whether your skill set is on the mound or hitting or whatever, you just have to hone in and of what you do well and exceed at it. That's all it is. The best way to kind of describe it is I'd love to hop off the mound and throw 100 because that's super valuable nowadays, but I just don't have that in my skill set, so I have to find different avenues to hopefully bring value to the team. And yeah, that's kind of the best advice I can give these young guys.
Mm-hmm. Couple more for you before I let you go. Looking ahead to 2025 and this year, do you have any expectations of yourself or goals that you've kind of plotted out for where you want to be or what you want to accomplish?
If you were asking me that question a couple years ago, when I kind of first got drafted and started this whole pro ball experience, I'd sit here and say, oh, I want to be at this level, start at this level at the start of the year. Halfway, I want to move up. And if there's one thing I've learned in pro ball is to not worry about that kind of stuff. That stuff is kind of out of your control. Those decisions that are made by some of these people, you can't control any of that. And, to kind of answer that question on goal setting or where you want to be and stuff like that, the best way to kind of approach it is just do your job and take care of your business. I mean, at the end of the day, all you can do is show up and prepare your body the right way, your mind the right way, give it your all, and, recover at the end of the day and kind of repeat it. A lot of people get, I don't want to say mixed up in what happens, but a lot of people think it's you get to play baseball for a job and baseball for a living or whatever. But at the end of the day, this is your job and you have to show up every single day. Otherwise, they're going to move on, and it's just the reality of the sport. It's the business side of it. And the quicker you kind of grasp that concept, I definitely feel like the worrying of, I want to do this or I want to be at this level kind of goes away, and you're able to really focus on what matters, and that's preparing every single day the right way and creating value for your team.
Mm-hmm. Final question for you. I'm going to make you kind of dream a little bit here because, I mean, the majors are just a couple of levels away here. So what would it mean to you to keep moving up and eventually get that call into the skipper's office where he says, hey, you're going to the show?
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, you kind of go back as a little kid and you're watching TV and say, oh, it'd be cool to play in the big leagues. You kind of have these dreams you want to say. And, as you kind of grow up, you had high school, you hit college, now you're playing professionally, and you kind of take a step back and put things into perspective and be like, yeah, I've come a long ways. I've experienced a lot of different things. I've got to travel all over the place. I've created a lot of memories and a lot of friendships that, I'll value for the rest of my life. And, getting that call hopefully one day would kind of be, a step along the journey that you kind of set out for. There's a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice that goes on. There's things that you would love to do, some days, but you kind of have to tell yourself or look at yourself in the mirror and say, I can't do that today. And, for that to happen one day would be would be amazing. Like I said before, it's kind of something that you dreamt for since you're a little kid, and if it happens, then it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And like I said, you can't worry about the decision making on what these people or what they decide on you. You just got to show up every single day and do your job.
Well, some great insight, and always love being able to catch up with you, Matt. Hopefully you do get that call up to Triple-A and beyond in the next couple of years here, and we get to hear your name again. Congrats on all the success of 2024, continued success in 2025, and as always, really appreciate you taking the time to join us here on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again to Matt Lloyd, Adam Macko, and Matt Coutney for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you like this or any other episode, make sure to leave us a rating and a review. A tip of the cap, as always, to our Platinum supporters, the Okotoks Dawgs, Under the Lights Sports and Entertainment, and the Western Canadian Baseball League for all they do for us and for the game in our province. Their support helps us cover costs like web hosting fees, online newspaper subscriptions, and swag. If you'd like to join our roster of sponsors, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.